That a paralysis looms in the judiciary and particularly at the highest court in the land is no longer in doubt. Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u's decision to temporarily set aside the appellate court's verdict on the retirement of Deputy Chief Justice Kalpana Rawal and her Supreme Court colleague Phillip Tunoi triggering a crisis days before Chief Justice Dr. Willy Mutunga proceeds on retirement. The Law Society of Kenya, in a bid to avert the looming constitutional stalemate at the judiciary, has offered to mediate in the row pitting Rawal and Tunoi against their employer, the Judicial Service Commission.
There must be found a resolution to this matter that does not destroy the institution of the Supreme Court of Kenya.
The Council of the Lawyers umbrella body met Rawal today in an attempt to convince her to withdraw the appeal she filed at the Supreme Court and allow an out-of-court solution. With Mutunga's departure in a fortnight, there will be no bench to hear and determine the Rawal-Tunoi appeal, since the two judges cannot sit to deal with the matter they are involved in due to the obvious conflict of interest. This effectively denies the Supreme Court the quorum of 5 judges required to hear and determine matters before the country's apex court. The Law Society of Kenya leadership also met lawyer Charles Kanjama, who is representing the Judicial Service Commission, to find a way out of the crisis.
It is time the actors in this dispute ask themselves whether the merits of the retirement age notwithstanding, the agitation of their respective positions is worth placing the judiciary and the country in this precarious position.
The Judicial Service Commission, under the chairmanship of Dr. Mutunga, will hold an emergency meeting tomorrow to review Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u's order and deliberate on possible solutions to the stalemate that could adversely affect the dispensation of justice. Lawyer Apollo Mboya is also preparing to file a petition tomorrow asking the Judicial Service Commission to cite Justice Ndung'u with gross misconduct over what he termed a pre-planned order and conflict of interest.
She should not have even touched that file whatsoever. This file ought to have gone straight to the office of the Chief Justice for administrative directions.
Dr. Mutunga proceeds on retirement in 2 weeks. Ndung'u's order on Friday effectively places Rawal by operation of Section 5, Subsection 4 of the Judicial Service Act as the acting Chief Justice for at least 6 months after Mutunga's retirement. This will also place her as the acting chair of the Judicial Service Commission that will recruit Mutunga's successor.
Whether she can act as Chief Justice while beyond the constitutional age limit for that office is likely to attract legal challenge.
The Friday intrigues and the dramatic turn of events over the retirement of Rawal, Tunoi and 33 other judges is seen as part of the vicious Mutunga succession contest and the scramble for the control of the Supreme Court ahead of next year's general election. Francis Gashuri, Sunday Live.